And welcome everybody to the COVID Chronicles, then and now. This episode is for March 26th, 2020 and March 26th, 2021, where we painstakingly talk about whatever we posted last year on our forum about COVID and what's going on now. Let's get to it. And we're actually going to quickly scroll through some of the information from yesterday as well, as we didn't make a COVID Chronicles for yesterday. We don't make these quite every day, folks. And I'm just going to let the forum scroll here for a minute. You can read all of these articles yourself at smAsho.com/forum. And we put up all of these articles in copy-pasted format in case they get scrubbed from the internet entirely or in case they get edited or otherwise altered. So we made sure that we copy-pasted the articles instead of just posting links. And we're just scrolling down here. This is like page 14 of this 34-page forum thread. Again, the URL is smashomash.com/forum. This is our most visited forum topic, and we've global pinned it to all of our different forum threads. We've got forums about cosmology, Earth and geophysics, heliophysics, and other stuff, so check that out. It's all currently free. There is no paywall yet erected at smashomash.com. So a bunch of information about what was going on yesterday. And we're talking about yesterday a year ago. So 366 days ago. And I see Cuomo appeared here. What does this one say? Cuomo warned that U.S. can't sacrifice public health for the economy, rebutting President Trump and more recently, Larry Kudlow's insistence that people will need to return to work in a few weeks. New York won't sacrifice 1 to 2% of the population to save the economy, Cuomo said. Remember, he earlier said that more than 80% of New Yorkers could eventually contract the virus. So without further ado about that, Cuomo was responsible for tens of thousands of nursing home deaths and then attempted to cover them up, which everybody glossed over until he started getting accusations about diddling the staff. And that's when all the information seemed to come to light. So just putting that out there, since it's the truth, and we prefer to report on reality on the channel. So just scrolling down here, feel free to pause the video, folks, if you want to read the articles. And let's go to page 16 at smashomash.com/forum in the coronavirus forum. And again, we've globally pinned this to all the different forums. So, okay, here we go. Cleaning products can kill the COVID-19 virus, and they can also harm you. Here's what to use in the house, according to this article from Lena Sirik of The Conversation last year on March 26th. So 1 year ago today, COVID-19 has only been around for a few months. So at this point, scientists don't know much about it. But more is being learned every day. We now know, for example, it can live on surfaces at the time for up to 9 days was the thing. And that was causing people to do stuff like, return home from the grocery store and attempt to disinfect all their groceries and stuff like this. So coronavirus was at the time believed to be able to live for 9 days on surfaces. And that led to a lot of use of cleaning products, let's just say, to the point where some people were toxifying themselves. And here's a little chart talking about the number of hours coronaviruses survive in air and on different surfaces. As people were trying to break it down and figure out what's more dangerous, going to the grocery store or, trying to buy crack in the hood. So at the time, reported was soap and water is your first line of defense. It will not kill the virus, but it will remove it from surfaces. That's right, soap and water makes your skin slippery and things that you don't want. Miscreants, aka germs like chemicals. Chemicals and germs will rinse off of your skin more easily. Surgical spirit like ethanol, surface wipes, hand sanitizers, and of course, everybody remembers all of the shortages. If you follow us on Instagram, you might have seen me bawling with hand sanitizer. The next story that we posted was, who needs Instacart? U.S. farmers expand food deliveries during coronavirus outbreak, as farmers were still selling, and they're still working now. They never really stopped, as the food supply is essential personnel. Now, I actually work for the food supply chain. The science company for which I work is the world leader in food safety testing. And so I had insight into this the whole time. It was a shame that nobody was listening to what we were saying, because there was a lot of fear-mongering, fraud, and nonsense on YouTube about what was really going on. All kinds of talk of non-existent shortages and stuff, and it would have been very beneficial for people to have been listening to what we were saying about COVID-19 last year. But tisk, tisk, our subscriber count didn't go up mysteriously. Maybe because we were talking about COVID. Who knows? Who knows? But in any case, here are 12 experts questioning the COVID-19 panic. So there's an article about that as well. And we posted that one on the 26th. The article was actually from the 25th, so maybe check that one out as well at smashomash.com/forum. I'm just going to let this, I'm going to actually go to the top of this. And I'm going to let this one scroll rather slowly in case anybody wants to read it. Now, there have been lots of conflicting opinions among doctors about the COVID. And, some countries have handled it entirely differently than other countries, and so on and so forth. What do you think about it? And what has been your stance over the past year? Leave us a comment and let us know if you have any insight that we haven't covered. And for anybody who thinks that we weren't exhaustively covering this last year, anybody who thinks that we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to the COVID should probably check our forum, as we read all the articles that we copy-pasted as well. Here's a quote from one of our viewers, and thanks for leaving a comment, Terry, who says, "It's concerning how many practice dry runs we have seen about a, quote, virus pandemic, end quote." And here's a quote from Dr. Fauci, who says, "No doubt Donald J. Trump will be confronted with a surprise infectious disease outbreak during his presidency," which Fauci was quoted as saying back in 2017. Who knew? Apparently Terry did, and everybody who was checking out our forum did as well. Thanks again, Terrence Leonard, folks. And now we're getting into tomorrow, so let's just leave it there and go to news stories from today. So first, we'll check out the homepage here of CBS News, one of the most pathetic and leftist news sources in the country, if not the world. And if you're not aware, cbsnews.com has a section entirely about the COVID. So let's click on that link. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's the homepage at CBS. And the top headline of the entire site is Biden set to vaccinate 200 million Americans. So clicking on the coronavirus crisis, the first headline we have here is Unbelievable Bureaucracy Plagues Germany COVID Vaccination Drive. Well, gee, who ever thought that they would experience an unbelievable bureaucracy? Have you experienced an unbelievable bureaucracy? Let us know what's going on in your country. Now, we're in the U.S., and specifically, I'm in Pennsylvania, and the unbelievable bureaucracy in Pennsylvania involves Governor Tom Wolf, and now Assistant Secretary of Health for the United States, Dr. Rachel Levine, who also caused thousands of nursing home deaths in Pennsylvania as a result of the policy requiring nursing homes to take people tested positive for COVID, despite nursing homes being unable to handle COVID patients. Because the nursing homes, what they said was, you can't send COVID patients here. When we have somebody who has severe symptoms from COVID, we have to send them to the hospital. So why would you send them from the hospital to the nursing home? It makes no sense. And apparently in certain bureaucracies, complete and utter incompetence gets you promoted. Now, of course, on YouTube, complete and utter competence and fraud and nonsense and alarmism and just total kookiness that makes no sense and has no basis in science gets you paid millions of dollars per year. We'll just leave that there and head back to the article here. Germany woefully behind with COVID vaccinations, and shortages only play a part in the unbelievable problem. Now, first world nations should be pretty good at handling this stuff. Sweden and Florida, for example, have been behaving like first world nations who appreciate the rights of their citizenry. So leave us a comment if your theory is no taxation without representation. Now, we would never tell you to not pay your taxes, folks, as that would be very irresponsible. The IRS would track you down, and there would be hounds and so on. You would be, I don't know if you'd be as hounded as you are by our pal COVID here. I'm just not sure. So again, make sure you pay your taxes, folks. It's very, very important to support the populist, the consumers, the plutocrats. Make sure that you pay your taxes to support plutocratic corporatists in government. And throughout the COVID pandemic, we've also done lots of financial news as we notice some, let's just say, oddities in the financial market. And so here's the homepage on CNBC.com because we featured lots of articles about this. Their top story is White House considers vehicle mileage tax to fund infrastructure, Buttigieg says. To which I say, howdy. And here's the top headline concerning COVID. They've got a quick link. So let's click the quick link. COVID updates, India expanding vaccination campaign to everyone 45 years or older. There are the daily cases in the U.S. Notice how they're all the way back to where they were in September of last year. And notice how everybody is still talking about cases as if they don't care at all about things like symptoms. So there's the top headline in their coronavirus section. Let's head back to the homepage as CDC director warns of possible COVID surge as U.S. cases increase by 7%. Are you scared and spooked yet? So here's an image of people in Fort Lauderdale at the beach, and look how close they are together. Look how unmasked they are. Oh my God, it looks like a super spreader event. I am scared and spooked. What about you? Let's check another news source. How about ZeroHedge.com, who a lot of people actually trust for their news nowadays. And we're going to scroll up from the bottom at ZeroHedge.com just to show you the headlines from today. Iran expanding oil influence in Africa. Credit Suisse considers repaying furious clients as they lose $3 billion. What if the ship lodged in the Suez Canal breaks? Yeah, there's a ship lodged in the Suez Canal, folks. Were you aware of that? There is a ship blocking the Suez Canal. Do you think it's going to have an effect on consumer prices? Do you believe what is reflected in the consumer price index in the first place? Do you foresee massive inflation on the way? Leave us a comment and let us know. Election integrity bill causing people to say boycott Georgia. And there is an image of the ship lodged in the Suez Canal. Just fantastic. Futures fade overnight surge as jump in yields sparks market jitters. Would that be bond yields, folks? Looks like bond yields indicating a sell-off in the bond market. And I'll let this one scroll too, as I don't have too much economic information to share today, although there are some pretty good-looking buys in crypto. Stellar Lumens, XLM, Stellar Lumens. Anyway, there's a market snapshot. So thanks to Zero Hedge for putting up this article, as we've just condensed a massive amount of information into today's COVID Chronicles. And here comes the bottom of the article. Fantastic. There's a bunch of financial data for all of you viewers. How about one more story? Or maybe we'll make it two. Trains collide in Egypt, killing at least 32. That looks horrendous. We're not going to show any photos of that. How about ban from YouTube? Damning video details Tesla's full self-driving claims versus reality. Yes, they don't have the right sensors in the cars, folks. Teslas need forward-looking infrared radar known as FLIR cameras to detect heat signatures in order for their vehicles to work properly. And even when they are working properly, their code is not written very well. And Tesla is using the general public as an engineering test bed, which I guess you could probably imagine there could be some issues there. Somebody's saying something bad about Bitcoin. Now, I'm not a big believer in cryptocurrency except as a massively volatile speculative investment. And here's an article. This will close out the video on this thing. Fauci does damage control after former CDC director suspects Wuhan lab leak. So that's about all that we'll talk about. I'll just let this scroll as we see Dr. Fauci's stupid-looking face. And then here's Robert Redfield, I believe his name is, who looks like some sort of Amish farmer or something. Oh, and a quote from Keith Olbermann, one of the least hinged people in media. And that's about it, folks. Thanks for tuning in to today's Smash News Network special, COVID Chronicles, Then and Now, for March 26th, where we look at what went on last year and what's going on today. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, and we'll see you next time here at the COVID Chronicles.